So James, now with spring ball over, I'm curious, compared to your expectations around National Signing Day, do you think it's perhaps more likely or less likely some of the kids coming in, now that you've seen your roster change, might be able to contribute, or is that just an expectation evaluation you want to make once they're in campus in pads in the summer?
Yeah, I could probably speak on the guys that are here, but there's not a whole lot more information based on the guys that we signed that haven't arrived yet. No different than the draft that we just watched. You don't truly know what you're getting until they show up on campus. Mm-hmm. I always say that what you hope is the guys turn out to be what you thought, and then you hope you got lucky on a few that turn out to be better than you thought. When you look at Tom Brady in the 6th round and what he's done for that organization, I don't know if you can put a value on it. Maybe the most valuable pick in the history of the NFL. So for us, the guys that showed up at mid-semester, we were very pleased with. I thought Miranda probably did better, than I thought he would. He was a dominant high school football player his senior year, but I didn't know if it would translate as a freshman, and he came and did great this spring. Obviously, everybody heard all the conversation and talk about Lamont. Lamont had a really good spring. I think, obviously at the corner position, it's probably a little bit easier to play earlier in your career because of the type of position it is and the stuff that's required. We had 2 other guys that didn't do a whole lot, KJ and Braylon. So it's kind of hard to evaluate those guys. And is that it?
That's it.
Well, yeah, those 4.
Jabari is probably.
It was reported earlier today that Sandy Barber wanted to wait on contract extension talks. Do you feel the same way about that?
Oh yeah. I don't ever want one of those 3. Those things, for me to kind of really comment on that's probably not a question for me. But I think we're in a good place. I want to make sure, for me, it's always been about what do we need to do to keep Penn State moving forward. What do we need to do in terms of support? What do we need to do in terms of my staff? What do we need to do in terms of facilities? I'm constantly studying best practice of what's going on around the country and what we need to do to keep building this thing. So that's to me what it's about. It's about what do we need to do to keep moving forward. We've made some progress when it comes to facilities, but like Lash, for example, I think a lot of people out there probably think and view that Lash is done. We haven't touched 60% of Lash. The locker room was a nice project for us, but we still have a lot of work to do. And I think that's probably something that I need to do a better job of is, we made a lot of progress this year, but we still got a lot of work to do for the programs that we want to compete against year in and year out. It's going to be a slow, steady, scratch, crawl, fight to get where we need to go. So, we still have a lot of work to do. So that's, to me, what it's about is all those other things, not necessarily me.
Is there is there a sense of urgency attached to that, to getting those projects done at Lash?
Yeah, I think there's a sense of urgency, and the sense of urgency is there because if we would have been pecking away at this for the last 20 years, then no. But the fact that we hadn't done anything for 15 years, then yeah, because as we weren't doing things, other people were. So yeah, we had fallen behind, and that's why I was pounding the table so much when I first got here, because I knew how far behind we'd fallen. So yeah, that's where it's important for us. And right now, in Lash, for example, we have stuff that we're able to show that's really nice. Our lobby is really nice now. Our auditorium is really nice. Our locker room is really nice. But then you walk into another part of the building, the meeting rooms, and they haven't been touched in 16 years. They're just things that we need to do. I think I mentioned to you guys before, our turf. Our turf, outside, was supposed to be replaced 10 years ago. So yeah, I think there is a real sense of urgency with those things.
Well, we know how you reacted when things weren't going so well. What's your default setting inside, your internal demeanor with success? And what do you talk to yourself about?
Well, I'd first like to ask you, like you said, we all know, like, what is that?
Well,
I don't know how you describe
you
it.
were resilient. You were almost defiant in your positivity. I remember a couple of press conferences where you said that. Now you've had success, so what's your personality like when you have success?
Well, I guess what I would say is...
Only within yourself, I mean.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I think it's a good question. I guess what I would say is, if this was the first time that I was a first-time head coach and this was the first time experiencing these things, then maybe different. But we had faced adversity before as a staff and as a head coach. We had faced success before as a head coach and as a staff. This isn't the first time experiencing either. You know, when we took over Vanderbilt, that was a tough situation, and we were able to have some success there and then build on it, probably to a level that had not been done there before. And then come to Penn State, and it was a challenging situation, and we walked in, and you know, when there was concern and question, things like that, that we never really felt those things internally. We said those things to you guys, but I don't know if everybody necessarily understood that, but we never felt that. I never felt that from the administration. I never felt that because I really believed in what we were doing and where we were going. So now the other end of it, the success, I always expected us to have success. You know, so it's not like it's a surprise. And I would also make the argument that how it started makes you appreciate where we are now. And I'd also say how it started also allows you not to drink the Kool-Aid now. You know, so my point is we've seen one end of the spectrum. It makes you appreciate the other end. But it also, I'm not going to get caught up into people telling us how wonderful we are now because the same people were the people earlier saying other things. So I think it really does ground you. And you get to a point where you don't get caught up in either of those things. You just kind of stay true to who you are and your process and the things that you really believe in and the things that you really care about, so you can go to sleep at night. You're going to have days where you get a huge win and you're going to go to sleep at night at the end of the day because you know you did everything you could to be successful. There's going to be days you have big losses and you should be able to go to bed at night because you did everything you possibly could to be successful. It's the same way in the off season. You're going to get a big recruit one day, and you're going to go to sleep well, and then you're going to get a day where you lose a recruit. But you should be able to go to sleep at the end of the day because you know that from the time you woke up to the time you went to bed, you did everything in your power to be successful for Penn State, for the community, for my family, for James Franklin, for our players. And I kind of stick to that.
I understand all that, and I grasp it, but still, you have acquired a little bit of political capital, if you will, you know, because of what you've done here. So do you just wash that out of your mind? Can you exhale and be even more positive because of that, or does it have no effect on you yourself?
I think that's the problem. It's like we talk about setting goals. I think exactly what you said is what I talk about all the time. I don't believe in setting goals because just like you said, once you reach that goal, it's human nature to take a deep breath and say, I've arrived. No different than what you just stated. Whew. There's no time for that. You know, so it's just not how I'm wired. It's not how I kind of came up in this profession. It's not how I was raised from my family as well as from coaches that I had. Yeah, so I don't necessarily believe in that. I feel like we have taken one step in a very long journey. I mean, for the programs that we want to compete with, academically, athletically, socially, spiritually, we've still got a long ways to go. We really do. We've taken one really nice step, but we've still got a long ways to go. It's going to be scratching and clawing and fighting to get where we want to go.
Last one?
You said a bunch of times that you study the other programs that you want to get to. How do you study them exactly?
It's probably one of the first things I do every single morning. Sandy will tell you it probably drives her and Phil crazy. Typically what I do is the first thing I do when I get in the morning, is I scroll the internet. I scroll social media. I read articles. I want to know what other people are doing. And typically, it's the programs that I have the most respect for. What are they doing? How are they doing it? Does it make sense for Penn State? Does it make sense for us? Is there things that we can learn from it? And for a lot of times, it's just an awareness. It's just an awareness of what other people are doing. Ultimately, we got to do what's right for Penn State and for our community, and I got to do what's right for me and my leadership style and those types of things. But to do that with your head in the sand and not an awareness of what's going on nationally and also in our conference, I think is a mistake. So that's one way. I think going and visiting people is another way. I think talking to friends and confidants, I think, is another way, whether there are other ADs that I'm friends with or work with, or whether that's other coaches or that's people that kind of also study the business. I think there's a lot of value, in that, kind of having an awareness. To me, I want to be really aware of what's going on in the Big Ten, but that's not our standard. It's just the Big Ten. It's also national, so I want to be able to kind of have an understanding of those things as well. So the internet, as we all know, is a tremendous resource to find information, whether it's articles, whether it's videos, whether it's statistics, doing analytics studies of other programs, taking the top 5 teams or taking the top 4 playoff teams. What were the statistics that was a consistent theme with those teams, and how do we align with that? So studying those things, facilities, ticket sales, attendance, everything. I think everything matters, and I want to kind of have an awareness of those things so I can be an asset and I can be a value to Sandy, because Sandy's responsible for 31 sports. I make the argument that no one's going to be the expert like I am going to be when it comes to football, because I spend 24 hours a day on football. So I need to be constantly throwing information at them about what we're doing, but also what the people around us are doing. So